Right now, software developers are hoarding Apple Mac Minis so aggressively that the tech giant is actually, well, running out of computers.
Which is a wild shift in the market.
It really is. And the reason why is because the artificial intelligence revolution is no longer just floating up in the cloud. It's heavy, it requires physical space, and it's aggressively moving into the hardware sitting on your desk.
Literally physically sitting right in front of you.
So, welcome to episode 496 of AI Brief. I am Amin, and alongside me to unpack today's stack of sources is Leah.
Glad to be diving into this one with you all today.
Our mission today is to explore the Pentagon's massive new AI partnerships and then break down the rapid-fire developments across the global landscape. We are talking everything from those Apple hardware shortages to groundbreaking legal rulings.
And then finishing up with a curated list of trending productivity tools you can deploy right now.
I mean, looking at the materials we're diving into today, the overriding theme is simultaneous penetration. We are no longer watching an isolated technology mature in a lab somewhere.
No, we're watching AI embed itself into the highest levels of national security while, at the exact same time, reshaping corporate enterprise and literally altering grocery prices for everyday consumers.
It's everywhere all at once. Let us jump straight into the national security updates because the sheer scale here is unprecedented. The Pentagon officially announced it is integrating 8 major AI companies into its classified networks.
The Department of War has a very clearly stated goal for this.
They do. They want to make the United States military an AI-first fighting force. And to pull that off, they've brought in a heavyweight roster. The list includes SpaceX, OpenAI, Google, Nvidia, Microsoft, AWS, Oracle, and a newer player called Reflection.
But looking closely at that list, there's one very glaring exclusion.
Anthropic is completely missing. Which is, I mean, it's wild. It feels like a VIP club owner standing at the front door publicly blacklisting a high-end vendor because they don't meet the strict security code. But meanwhile, that same owner is sneaking around the back alley demanding priority access to that exact vendor's top-shelf supply.
That analogy is actually perfect for what is happening. The reports show that these new Pentagon agreements contain the exact same autonomous weapons and surveillance limits that initially got Anthropic blacklisted.
So the rules of engagement are consistent across the board.
They are. But the players allowed on the field have been selectively filtered. To understand why, you have to look at the bureaucracy. Department of Defense Chief Technology Officer Emil Michael recently maintained that Anthropic still carries an active supply chain risk label.
Wait, but didn't he also praise their new model recently?
He did. In that very same conversation, he described Anthropic's new Mythos model as a separate national security moment.
A national security moment. That specific phrasing proves they recognize the sheer strategic value of the technology, even while keeping the company at arm's length. So they know how powerful Mythos is, but they still apply the supply chain risk label. What is the actual friction point there?
The friction point is compute, computational power. The White House has a very conflicting stance on this. They recently came out against allowing a broader public rollout of the Mythos model, and the reasoning was not about safety protocols.
It was pure compute concerns, wasn't it?
Exactly. A massive public rollout of a model that's sophisticated requires an astronomical amount of processing power. The administration is worried that if the public gets access, it could severely bottleneck the government's own access to the necessary computational infrastructure.
They want to maintain the blacklist over surveillance limits while maneuvering to ensure their own uninterrupted access. They are treating computational power like a finite natural resource.
Which it effectively is becoming.
Before we bridge over to the commercial sector, we should highlight Reflection. They made the cut for these classified networks, and they recently raised $2 billion from 1789 Capital.
And that is a fund backed by Donald Trump Jr.
It really paints a vivid picture of how advanced intelligence is intercepting with massive political and financial capital. But this thirst for compute is not just a government issue. It is hitting the private sector incredibly hard. I want to step back here and let you lead us through the broader commercial landscape, starting with that hardware shortage.
I will break this down step by step because the pace of integration in the commercial sector is fundamentally altering physical markets. Apple's outgoing CEO, Tim Cook, confirmed on their latest earnings call that the company is facing a significant supply chain bottleneck.
And this is specifically for the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio, correct?
Yes. Both of those machines are going to be in short supply for months. The primary driver is developers aggressively hoarding them to run local AI agents. The demand is so intense that the starting price for the base Mac Mini has already jumped to $799.
Let's unpack that for the listener for a second. Why are developers hoarding physical desktop computers? Why not just run these AI agents in the cloud like we normally do?
It comes down to control, privacy, and cost. When you run an AI agent in the cloud, you pay API costs for every single interaction, and you have to send proprietary data to a third-party server. A local AI agent runs entirely on the physical hardware sitting on your desk.
Oh, I see.
Apple's unified memory architecture in the Mac Mini makes it uniquely capable of running massive, complex AI models locally without the need for specialized server farms. So developers are just buying them in bulk to build autonomous systems in-house.
It is remarkable. An entirely invisible demand, the desire to run intangible software, is physically altering a $2 trillion company's supply chain and driving up consumer pricing in real time.
And that integration is happening deep within digital ecosystems as well. Meta is aggressively moving to capture enterprise workflows. Their Meta Ads AI connectors are now in open beta.
That allows advertisers to plug external assistants directly in.
Yes, specifically ChatGPT and Claude directly into their Meta ad accounts to manage campaigns. Meta is reporting that their business AI tools now facilitate 10 million conversations a week.
10 million a week. That is a massive jump.
Up from just 1 million at the start of the year. OpenAI is also expanding its ecosystem. They shipped a feature called Codex Pets alongside a major update for OpenClaw users. Sam Altman announced that OpenClaw users can now leverage their existing ChatGPT subscriptions directly within the tool.
OpenClaw is an agentic tool, meaning it doesn't just chat, it takes autonomous actions across different apps. Allowing the ChatGPT subscription in there is a strategic move to capture users who might feel restricted by competing ecosystems.
But the fascinating part of this ecosystem battle is what it reveals about the financial health of the software sector.
Oh, this is where I have to jump in. Because for the last year, everyone has been screaming that vibe coding is going to absolutely destroy legacy software as a service companies like Atlassian or Twilio.
For the listener, vibe coding is the concept where instead of writing complex programming syntax, a user just describes the vibe or function of the software they want in plain English, and an AI agent builds it instantly.
The theory was, why would a company pay for a massive enterprise software subscription when their own team could just vibe code a custom version over the weekend? Sounded like an extinction-level event for SaaS companies.
But the recent earnings reports completely contradicted that theory. Two major SaaS leaders just posted breakout quarters. Atlassian announced revenues of $1.8 billion. That is a 32% year-over-year increase.
Wow. And Twilio?
Twilio posted $1.4 billion, achieving 20% year-over-year growth, which is their fastest in 3 years. Both organizations explicitly credited artificial intelligence integrations for the surge.
So instead of users leaving to build their own tools, these legacy platforms just embedded AI directly into their existing complex workflows. Convenience and integration won out over everyone becoming their own software developer.
They proved established networks can leverage AI to boost resilience. But while software companies adapt, the legal framework is really struggling. We are seeing major shockwaves in labor and law. Maryland just instituted the first ban in the United States on AI-driven grocery pricing.
How does an AI even price groceries? Are there cameras tracking you in the aisle?
Mostly data profiles. Stores use personalized shopper data, your purchase history, loyalty card usage, demographic profile, and feed it into an algorithmic system. That AI dynamically alters the digital price tag on a shelf or an app specifically for you based on what it calculates you are willing to pay.
That is literally algorithmic price gouging.
Maryland banned it entirely. Stores caught using personalized markups will face fines of up to $25,000.
It is wild that it requires legislation to stop that.
The entertainment industry is pushing back too. SAG-AFTRA secured a new 4-year studio deal that includes incredibly strict AI guardrails. But the most profound legal shift is actually happening internationally. A Chinese court recently ruled that replacing a human worker with artificial intelligence does not legally justify terminating their employment.
That is a massive precedent. A company cannot just buy an AI system, point at the computer, and tell a human employee they are redundant without facing consequences. The court ordered the tech firm involved to pay wrongful termination damages.
It establishes that AI is not just a tool you purchase to save money. The court recognizes it as a distinct entity replacing a human's role, which carries legal liability for the employer.
The through line here is incredible. The AI revolution isn't theoretical anymore. It is sitting in the grocery aisle, it's in labor courts, and on developers' desks. And the very tools causing these disruptions, well, they're available for deployment today. Let us walk through the trending AI tools making waves across the ecosystem.
It is helpful to think about how they actually fit together if you are building an AI-first operation today.
Absolutely. The foundational layer you would need is the infrastructure model. That is where Xiaomi's newly released MIMO V2.5 Pro comes in. It is a highly capable open-source model. The practical use case is running a powerful, flexible AI locally on your own hardware, which ties directly back to hoarding those Mac Minis.
So you have the brain running locally. Now you need a team to execute operations.
Enter Buda. This tool is trending because it bills itself as a synchronous team builder. The use case is recruiting a diverse team of specialized AI agents who communicate synchronously with each other. You spin up an automated management team that runs entire segments of company operations, passing tasks back and forth without human intervention.
Watching two AI agents have a meeting to solve a problem is definitely a surreal experience.
But you still have to onboard human employees eventually. For that, the trending tool is VibeKnow Studio. This functions as a document-to-video converter. The use case is taking a dry 40-page corporate PDF or internal URL and automatically generating structured, engaging training videos for new employee onboarding.
While the team is being trained, founders still have to manage their daily grind.
And that is where MoClaw comes in. It's trending as a personal AI assistant. Its best use case is acting as your executive assistant. It automates deep daily research, handles repetitive task management, and organizes your schedule autonomously.
Visibility is another big piece of the puzzle.
Yes, a trending service right now is dofollow.com. It's a premium backlink service, but the use case has evolved. Getting your SaaS seen on Google is one thing, but now it is about getting seen by ChatGPT's retrieval systems. Securing high-impact brand mentions ensures that when someone asks an AI for a software recommendation, your company gets synthesized into the answer.
And for monitoring the developers building that software.
That brings us back to Codex Pets from OpenAI. The practical use case is passive monitoring. These animated desktop companions sit quietly on your screen and allow you to track the progress of active AI agents and complex coding tasks in the background without needing to constantly switch tabs.
There are also major tools for marketing and creative output.
Two tools are dominating there. First is custom voices, which clones voices using very short audio clips. The trending use case is personalizing audio outputs within Grok applications. Second is ElevenMusic, an AI song platform. The use case is generating and remixing music with built-in creator payouts, ensuring the original human artists whose data influence the outputs are actually compensated.
Looking at this entire tool stack, especially platforms like Buda and VibeKnow Studio, it really represents a shift in our relationship with software. We are moving away from treating AI as a helper that just answers questions. These tools are acting as core infrastructure. They are synchronous coworkers and automated training departments taking on the structural weight of an organization.
That structural shift brings us to the core takeaway for today. If an AI can wrongfully terminate a human worker in the eyes of the law, and if the computational power required to run these agents is so massive that it's draining the global supply chain of physical hardware, well, we have crossed a major threshold. We are rapidly moving toward a reality where digital agents might soon be regulated or perhaps even taxed, like physical entities or public utilities. The economy isn't just digitizing, it is physically anchoring AI into our infrastructure. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the sources shaping our future. Be sure to follow and share to stay informed on these rapid developments. See you in the next episode.
Goodbye, and thank you all for listening.